Christ Triumphant, a devotional of Ellen G. White, October 29. Saul becomes Paul, apostle to the Gentiles. Acts 9 verses 4 and 5. And he fell to the earth and heard a voice saying unto him, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? And he said, Who art thou, Lord? And the Lord said, I am Jesus whom thou persecutest. Saul had been educated by the most learned teachers of the age. He had been taught by Gamaliel. Saul was a rabbi and a statesman. He was a member of the Sanhedrin and was very zealous for the suppression of Christianity. He acted a part in the stoning of Stephen, and we read further of him. As for Saul, he made havoc of the church, entering into every house, and hailing men and women, committed them to prison. But he was stopped in his career of persecution. As he was on his way to Damascus to arrest any Christians he could find, suddenly there shined around about him a light from heaven, and he fell to the earth, and heard a voice saying unto him, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? Saul, converted, was called Paul. He united with the disciples and was among the chief of the apostles. Manuscript 95, 1899. Although the apostles were often cast down in the conflict with evil people and the powers of darkness, yet they were enabled to press again to the conflict, having before them triumph or death in the effort. Their bodies, in bruises and wounds and stripes received for the sake of Jesus, they carried the evidence of the crucifixion of Christ, that they were partakers with him of his sufferings. Their very deliverance and preservation under manifold difficulties and trials testified that Jesus lived, and because of his power they lived also. Manuscript 58, 1900. A true and faithful Stephen was stoned to death by the enemies of Christ. Surely it did not appear that God was strengthening his cause in the earth by thus permitting wicked men to triumph. But from this very circumstance Paul was converted to the faith, and through his words thousands were brought to the light of the gospel. Letter 10, 1879. Those selected for the work of God should be men and women who are faithful and true, workers whom God can instruct, who will impart what they receive, proclaiming without reserve the will of God, pointing out the better way to all with whom they come in contact. New men and women in Christ are born to conflict, toil, and labor, born to engage in the good fight of faith. There is ever within their reach a power by which they may obtain the victory at every onset, power that will enable them to be more than conquerors over the difficulties they meet. Letter 150, 1900.